Fasten your bootstraps, folks. You don't get a lot of these from Gaming Off the Grid. Today's video is all about the N64 and in particular co-op games on the N64, which there are not that many games that are co-op. A lot of people think of the N64 as this great, vast, multiplayer console, but that's exactly what it was. Multiplayer,
yes.
A lot of versus stuff, not a lot of cooperative.
A lot of split screen, a lot of versus, you know, Mario Kart, GoldenEye, Smash Bros, freaking Conker's Bad Fur Day. All these games are fantastic to bring people together, but you're versus and you're yelling.
Yeah.
But today we're going to look at co-op games that are freaking, you work together and you can have a blast, and our list has some bangers on it.
Yeah, before we get into our top 5 co-op games on the N64, make sure you jump down to the comment section and tell us what your favorite N64 game of all time is that you still play to this day.
Yes.
Because I think that's really important. And if you want to support the channel even further, you can check out our Patreon, tons of exclusive content, monthly Zoom beers, crazy giveaways, the whole 9 yards. But let's jump in to number 5, top co-op game on the N64. Okay, it's a green cartridge,
yes.
All right? Battle Tank Global Assault. This, I believe, is kind of by the same group that did the Army Men game.
Yes.
This game is very unique, and you may think, oh, on the tank, it's gonna be sluggish. Not so fast.
No, dude, this game is awesome. When you're driving the tank, you're going fast, and you're able to do like 360 turns.
You can turn on a dime.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
And this game, you basically just go through and follow a story, and sometimes you have to save prisoners, sometimes you have to destroy other tanks, you can destroy buildings, there's destructible environments, there's power-ups, you can unlock different tanks, you can pick up tank bucks. I love the tank bucks, dude. The story doesn't matter. But the gameplay is great, and this is awesome because it's split screen, you work together. It is so fun, and I think it's also available on PlayStation as well.
Now, I haven't played that one. There's a lot of fun to be had, and you don't have to play this game in lockstep with your co-op partner.
No, you don't.
I guess if I could give you a comparison, it reminded me a lot of Twisted Metal. But you're shooting things, and you know, if you're, you know, you mentioned rescuing hostages or whatever, we're both going for the same number. So if it's 8, you could grab 2, I could grab 4, then you could grab the last 2. We don't have to be together to do it, but it is a lot of fun to play 2-player, and I know back in the day, I would have had a ton of fun playing this game.
I didn't even know this game existed when I was a kid. This game is so much fun, and it's kind of cool because you don't know exactly what you're doing in some levels, so you're just wandering around trying to figure it out, and I like games that are kind of puzzly like that. So this game is really fun.
At face value, it looks like a budget title. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, I don't know. But a lot of fun with Battle Tank Global Assault playing 2-player co-op.
Yes.
Now let's jump into number 4. We may catch some hell for number 4, but it's WWF No Mercy. And if you're thinking, well, how the heck is that co-op?
Yeah, it's mostly versus.
Yeah.
But
and there's a season mode, the whole 9 yards, and you can do tag team matches on the same team, but that's not what made it make the list. If you have this bad boy, a Game Shark for the N64, and the one that we have, I believe, is the version 3, Game Shark Pro, like version 3.1 or something like that. We'll put all that info on the screen, and we'll put the code up there for you as well. This code allows you to do the tag team story mode cooperatively. It gives player 2 control of the second partner. This game would be a lot higher on the list if that worked flawlessly.
It obviously is an add-on because you have to use the game chart to do it, and there are moments if you're doing 2-player where it's just like, okay, they kind of ignore the second player a little bit and it's just like focusing on player 1, which is, I get it because the engine was built that way, but it's so freaking, you can do tag team matches, you can do matches where you're just all together. It is so fun, and it's really cool to just be like, who do you want to play as a tag team? Let's go, Austin and The Rock. Let's beat some boys up. Dude.
Yeah, and I don't know why they didn't do this natively, why you have to kind of jailbreak it with a Game Shark. Because Revenge has tag team co-op, but it's more of just a ladder. You're going for the title. The problem with this, and it's great, and it's a lot of fun, but the story has branching paths, and you can break up as a tag team. Well, there goes your time together, right? And there are singles matches that will pop up in your tag team story that doesn't involve the second player, but depending on the path you go on, you may be able to extend that time that you're a tag team, and they didn't have that option in WrestleMania 2000 either, so if you have one of these Game Sharks laying around for the N64 and No Mercy, you may have a little hidden nug on your hands if you have a buddy that wants to play.
I mean, N64,
some co-op season mode.
No Mercy is like one of the best N64 games. I love wrestling. It's awesome, you know, head to head and fighting each other, but it's so fun that this is just a little extra add-on, you know? The gameplay is great and it feels great. Co-op, that's your number 4.
Number 3. One of the most fun co-op times you can have on the N64, in my opinion, is on NBA Hang Time. Now, this is in the realm of NBA Jam. Why they ditched the Jam name, I don't know. But this is NBA Hang Time. The game is fast. The game has amazing graphics. You can change Dennis Rodman's hair color.
Yes.
And co-op, this game is so fun because you just run through all the teams that are in the game.
It is so badass. Obviously, you can do versus mode, and that is fun. We love doing arcade sports and versus mode. But when you're on the same team and you're trying to beat the computer is tough. They will keep it close because rubber banding and all that stuff. This game is so much fun. You can work together. You figure out what team you want to play as. You figure out, oh, you're good at shooting. I'm good at defense. Let's work together. It is so fun. And then when you beat a team, you just move on to the next. It is fantastic, and it's so fast paced. Like, I'm used to playing NBA Jam that I'm like, damn, this is like, we're like sprinting.
Yeah.
But turbo, you run out of turbo so quickly. So make sure you save it.
Yeah, save your turbo. It takes a lot of strategy. I mean, the current team we're playing as, we've been playing a lot as the Knicks, Patrick Ewing and Larry Johnson. And Robert's more of like the attack defender. But since I'm Ewing and I'm like 7 foot, I'm staying back. I'm the rim protector. I'm blocking shots. But it does take a lot of strategy. Even once you get really good at the game, you can still lose to the computer, which makes it fun. You guys know the drill with these arcade sports games. You can put in your name, you can save your records, which is a lot of fun.
So fun.
Doesn't seem like a lot at the surface, but as a co-op game, this game is such a great time. And there are some other arcade sports games coming in our honorable mentions, but for right now, number 3 is NBA Hang Time on the N64. Number 2, Perfect Dark.
Oh, wow. The somewhat sequel to GoldenEye.
Yeah.
I think it technically is, but it's not a Bond game.
Yep.
This game is phenomenal, and obviously the single-player campaign is incredible. That's how a lot of people played Perfect Dark. That's how I played it back in the day. I never did the co-op story mode. There's a legit co-op story mode. It's split screen. You're playing as the same person, obviously, but you're wandering around, and what's so cool is you can be in separate parts of the building trying to find stuff. This game is so much fun. The guns are great. It controls just like GoldenEye, so it takes a little bit to get used to going back to those controls, but once you figure it out, dude, it's so fun.
Yeah,
so fun.
We got back on the horse really, really quick.
Yes.
I think we had it down. You just gotta, the C buttons, think of them as your other joystick and your strafing. A ton of fun. I think it took everything that GoldenEye did and it just refined it. It really, really did. This game is smooth. It is so satisfying, especially from a distance, to just clip somebody really quick. When you have the guns that aren't silenced, like when the Falcon, her default handgun, unsilenced is just like, it's awesome.
Dude, and what I love about this game too is every level, going back to the tank game, is every level is like a puzzle. You have objectives and you've got to figure out exactly where you're going and what to do, and sometimes there's secret doors, there's secret paths, and then what's really cool is you pause, you can pick up like night vision, you can pick up like the computer thing. There's just so much depth in this game. It's hard but fun and satisfying, and there is a little bit of aim assist, so if you're not used to the controls, it does help you. And it's just, this game is so fun co-op. So fun.
And just like GoldenEye, as you up the skill level, you get more objectives. So if it's your first go and you're just getting used to the controls, put it on the easiest one, which I think maybe is Agent or something like that, and then you're only going to have 1 or 2 objectives per level. But as you get good at it, you can up that difficulty, and then there's a lot more stuff to do.
Dude, so this game has a lot of depth, and it's a longer story, and it's just so fun to be like, let's go, dude, we're Secret Agent, man. Secret Agent.
It is a great time, and I think it may be the only cooperative, like, first-person shooter on the console. It's amazing they could pull it off, but it plays really well.
Now, before we jump into our number 1, which this game is phenomenal, we got to talk about some honorable mentions. Which is shocking to me, because at first glance for the N64, I was like, this list is going to be really hard to make. But we do have honorable mentions. So the first one we got to bring up, this one almost made our list, is Fighting Force 64. This game is also available on PlayStation, just known as Fighting Force. The 64 version is very similar, but slightly different. And this game is really fun. It's a 3D beat-em-up with guns. It kind of reminds me a lot of Dynamite Cop on the Dreamcast.
But not as good.
But not as good. It's still ridiculous. You can pick up stuff. Like, sometimes you'll punch and you're not hitting the guy. The 3D element makes it a little weird.
Yeah, I think the hit detection and the controls are a little bit dodgy. There is fun to be had.
It is fun, though.
I do know that we had a good time with it. I know back in the day I wouldn't have nitpicked it like I do now. But when it comes to a beat 'em up, even if it is hokey and it's cheesy, I want to have really tight controls. And this game is spongy at best. If you find it on the cheap and have somebody to play it with, you'll get some laughs out of it.
I think you might be able to do, we haven't tested it, but you might be able to do more than 2-player, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't know if you can officially, but there's like 3 or 4 characters you can pick from, so that might be up to 4 players, which would be really fun.
Yeah.
I've never done it though, so don't quote me on that.
It's one of those games that you'll be like, dang, this could be pretty cool, and after about 3 or 4 levels, it gets very tiring because there's not much you can do. You got your punch, your kick, you got your running attacks, but it's pretty limited. There
is some slight destructible environments, like you can beat up soda machines, beat up fountains, and get weapons
Cop
like that.
cars.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. You can pick up tires. There's fun to be had. But now let's jump into some sports games for honorable mentions. Obviously, we got to talk about NFL Blitz.
Yep.
We usually play this head-to-head, but you can do on the same team. I will say it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
But what's cool about NFL Blitz, we have 2001 on the N64, is usually player 1 is in charge of the playbook. But in this version in particular, you take turns.
Yeah.
So say I'm on offense and I'm picking it, then you'd pick the defensive play. And then next turn, you're in charge of offense.
Yep.
I'm in charge of...
So then it changes every possession.
So everybody's in charge, which is so fun, dude. So, because usually it's just like, oh, if I'm second player, I'm just out there catching and not picking anything. No, they make it so everybody's like a coach, basically.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah, and then I will throw in there too Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey.
Yes.
It's a Midway game. Actually, I think it's Williams, but you guys,
Yeah.
you probably know the story of those two. But this game, I think Tim Kitzrow's on the announcing, if I remember right.
He is.
But this was their first poke, I feel like, at NHL hits.
It feels like a very early NHL hit.
Yep.
Not quite as precise and dialed in, but still super fun to be had. And the teams are great. Obviously, we played as Wayne Gretzky and the team that he's on.
Yeah, Rangers. Yeah,
Rangers. But it's fun.
I do think the learning curve's a little steep. It's going to take you till about midway through the second into the third period to feel like you know what the hell's going on. And if it wasn't for the Game Shark hack, the last honorable mention, WCW vs. NWO Revenge, would have been on our list.
Yes.
But because of the Game Shark 2-player season mode workaround, we nugged No Mercy into our list. But WCW vs. NWO Revenge does have the co-op belt challenge that you can go for, and it's a great game.
Which is still fun. No Mercy is just a better game.
Yeah.
So that's why we picked it. It's still fun. But now let's jump into our number 1 couch co-op game for the Nintendo 64.
Now, I remember when we did our Dreamcast Top 5 co-op games, people were like, where is Gauntlet Legends? We were saving it for this episode.
Yes,
and I know the game is great on the Dreamcast. I understand all of that. But growing up, this was my Gauntlet Legends.
Yes.
I dabbled in the arcades, but I put a ton of time into this game on the N64. So in my little cat brain, well, it is an N64 game.
Yes, I know this game is available on so many things, and I think Dark Legacy is the same game, just with updated rosters and all that stuff. But this game is phenomenal on the N64. Obviously, it's an arcade game, but it plays and looks great. I think you can do up to 4 players, which is so fun. These games are just so awesome, pick up and play.
Yep.
They're kind of easy in some parts, and the boss fights are kind of hard.
Yep.
It's just fun, dude. I could play this game for hours and it's so simple, but it's so fun.
It is. It's easy to pick up and play, but there is a level of mastery to the game that you can get the more time you put into it. And leveling up your characters is so fun. But
RPG elements.
I do love that low barrier of entry because you could literally round up any 2 to 4 people and they can contribute. Now, to what degree is how quick they can pick up the game, and boss fights, they may get their ass kicked. But I think this game has a great, what I would call, difficulty curve.
Yes.
Where, really, really basic tutorial at the beginning, just teaching you how to play the game, and then it kind of slowly peels the gloves off and gets,
if you're doing 4-player, you could bring in, like, your children, you could bring in, like, your niece and nephews, and they would have fun. They might not do great, but they would still have fun and be a part of the team.
But you need to really work on your strategy, because every player type
is different.
You got your magic, you got your attack people. All those
I love playing as like the archer, so I'm in the back just shooting bows while you're up at the front freaking hitting things.
Yeah.
It is so fun to build the team. We talk about this game on every console that it's available on.
Yeah.
Because the Gauntlet games are just amazing, even in the arcade. So they're so much fun. They're like the pinnacle of couch co-op, and that's our number 1 N64 game. Gauntlet Legends.
I think this is a pretty solid list, but aside from what we talked about today, no joke, guys, I think there's only like 2 or 3 other games that register as co-op games on the N64. So there's not many. But when we started this series, we said we were going to cover every console hooked up in the game room, which means we had to cover the N64. And we had a ton of fun. Actually, later on tonight, which you won't see this video until ways down the road, but we are going to be streaming NBA Hang Time because we're obsessed with it.
We're obsessed with Hang Time. Hang Time is so much fun. And what's really cool about our list as well is that none of these games that we talked about today are available on the N64 app for the Switch. So that's pretty cool, because obviously you could bust out your Switch and play them, but not these games. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of the games we talked about are not exclusive, but a couple of them are, so that's kind of fun. Yeah. The N64, I do shit on a ton, but I did have fun making this episode. I did have fun playing these games, and man, I want to keep playing Gauntlet. I want to keep playing Perfect Dark. I want to keep playing NBA Hang Time. Like, these games are hammer. I want to beat them all.
Absolutely. We had a great time with it. What a great multiplayer console. Takes you back to when times were simpler, right? But N64, again, being as known as it is for multiplayer games, it is kind of just odd that there aren't more co-op games.
Yeah, it's weird that it's like probably less than 10, less than 15 for sure, which is wild. But before we go, beer reviews are back. I'm going to say that all year. Today we're drinking the Foggy Geezer by War Pigs Brewing.
Yeah.
We got this.
Is this a collaboration, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Between them and...
Three Floyds? Yeah, because we got this in the Three Floyds sampler pack. Yep. So I was like, oh, there's Three Floyds beer, but no, it's a War Pigs beer. Yep. This is a hazy IPA that comes in at 7.3%. What do you think?
I think it's pretty dang good. I'm not blown away by any means, but this is exactly what I want in a hazy IPA. It's
nothing special. It's nothing being like, oh, this hazy IPA stands out from the rest of them. Yeah. Hazy IPAs are kind of just the same, but they're good. Mm-hmm. You know what you're going to get when you order one. Yep. They're pretty consistent. This has good flavor, good balance, and it's dangerous that it's 7.3% because it doesn't taste like it. It's an easy drinker, perfect for a hot summer day. Yeah. Because it's beautiful out. This feels great, and man, I love IPAs. Yeah, I think it just does what it says. It's not knocking my socks off. I would probably, if it was on a 10-point scale, give it a solid 7.5 or an 8. It's a really good brew. But if I saw it at like a restaurant, I'd probably order it again. You know, I'd drink it again. I would not hesitate to have this one. And I love how like metal the can art is, dude. Yeah. Foggy Geezer. He's a Foggy Geezer who knocks the metal. And he might even like the N64. Who knows? Yeah, probably back in his youthful days, he probably did. In his middle ages, you know, he's coming up playing N64. Playing Gauntlet. Let us know, guys, in the comments below. Don't forget, what is your favorite N64 game of all time that you still play to this day? That's our top 5 N64 couch co-op games. I know somebody in the comments is going to say, well, what about this game? What about Smash Brothers? Or what about... It's like, well, that's just 2-player. Doesn't mean it's co-op and it's competitive. Together. Maybe there's a way you can do that. I'm sure you can do like a 2v1 or 2v. Yeah, but it's not... Anyway, that's our list. We're sticking to it. We have always appreciate you tuning in, subscribing to the channel, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the one and only Gaming Off the Grid.